Welcome back to your Wednesday night shenanigans. This is Open Studio. I'm Steve Leahy. This is Tokyo. What is going on, everyone? Yay. All right, what else we got going on here? All kinds of good stuff. We're just going to keep working on stuff. I suppose I could do roofs. The thing is doing roofs kind of bleed into buildings behind, but we're going to keep doing that. That building we worked on last week, this little white one right here, we're gonna kind of work on him, I think. Methinks. So how is your week going? Hopefully really, really well. I hope. I don't have a soapbox for tonight, so we'll see what pops up and what rattles around my brain, which will be fun. I'm still taking soapbox ideas. I will take soapbox ideas now till the end of time, until I stop doing these videos, because I like that. I like hearing from you guys and, finding out, what's important to you guys. And, oh, did I do that wrong? No, I did that one right. Sorry. Distracting myself there. Yeah, we'll just run this section right in here. Slide this down a little bit since we're working on roofs. They kind of, like I said, they bleed into the other buildings behind, but yeah, we'll make it work. So as of the filming of this, we're into the beginning of the year, beginning of 2025, and I love, all the new shows that are going on. Can't see that, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of picking at whatever's white, little white buildings and stuff. So, all the new shows for the year are getting ready to have their call for entries, and we talked about call for entries, the website, but call for entries is what you call the, announcement for a new show that someone's having and they want people to enter. So a lot of those are coming out now for 2025, and sometimes the call for entries is really quick. It's like, oh, you gotta have this by Tuesday or whatever. But some of them are way in advance too. They give you plenty of time, because I always have the same show every year, so it gives people plenty of time to get ready for that, which is great. So there are a couple shows that I really love entering, and try to enter them now, especially when I was back in Massachusetts. The Cambridge Art Association would have their biannual show. They would have a red show. They call it the red show or the blue show. So while it's kind of themed, I always love to enter a red piece or a blue piece. It wasn't the sole reason or sole thing to do, or that you needed to do to get in, but their shows are amazing. They're right. Cambridge is just north of, it's technically kind of Boston, but they're just on the other side of the Charles River in Boston. So Cambridge has the notoriety of having both Harvard and MIT right there. So and it's like I said, if you're in Cambridge, you feel like you're in Boston. So they have an extremely good artist. They call it an art association, but it's a juried group. It's really great. So they have a couple annual shows that they do. So I love entering those. I haven't entered since I moved here to Ohio, because logistically, like getting my stuff there now from here is a bit of a chore. So I haven't really been entering, but that was one of the ones I've entered all the time. This another art association that's called an art association, but it's big time is in Massachusetts. It's the South Shore Art Association. It kind of has the same group of people as Cambridge, and they have an annual show every year there in Cohasset, which is an absolutely beautiful town south of Boston, right along the coast. And it's the big money town. Cohasset has all the super expensive rich people houses. So they have a very cool art association there as well. And I was fortunate to be a member there. That is also a juried group, which means if you want to get into that group, you have to submit your portfolio, and they review it, and you go from there. So, and that may sound very like elitist and hoity-toity, but I don't know. There's something to be said for, for groups that have requirements as far as achievement, and I mean achievement meaning technical level of achievement, because it gives you something to strive for as an artist. I want to be in this group, like the Copley Society or something, or Pastel Society of America. I want to be in that group. You know what I mean? But they don't just let everyone who applies in. And again, that may sound a little bit elitist, but it's what it does is it creates a group or a society or a group of artists in this case that is really representative of a very high level of whatever that association is. There's all kinds of them, the realist painters and miniature artists and all that. You can argue about, who gets in and who doesn't. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like you can look at some artists saying, hey, they shouldn't be in there, but that's more of a judging thing. But I like the idea of a group that, that represents that, that cutting edge, so that, as you're coming up the ranks, you have something, one, to strive for, but also two, to kind of look to for inspiration. You have people that are really killing it, and I think that's a really good thing. So here in Ohio, we have the Associated Artists of Pittsburgh, which is also juried to get in, which is great. So yeah, I guess there's your soapbox for today. It's those juried groups. Any group, even if it's just your local art association, which I would strongly recommend you joining if you're into getting your art out there, because it's all, people say it's always about networking, and it really is. You get your stuff in front of people who are doing it. You get to meet people who are, kind of creating the artwork in the community that you're in. And it's a win for everyone. You find your family, your artist family, which is great. So I would suggest that 100%. What I would also recommend, if you do get into one of these associations, make sure you put it on your list to actually do stuff with them. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of times, some of the really great associations, if you get in, that's kind of the reward. Like if you're a pastel artist and you get into PSA, the Pastel Society of America, that's a big accomplishment. You know what I mean? So just putting those letters behind your name in a pastel situation elevates you in the eyes of people who know pastel, other artists, other people who are viewing them. So that's kind of the reward in itself. But again, I can't stress it enough. If you're in any organization, if usually what you put in, you get out plus. You know what I mean? So if you're in one of these organizations, volunteer as much as you can. Get into it with them, and you'll get so much more out of it. So I learned that the hard way, because I don't know, I wasn't always putting myself out there, and like I talked about Cambridge, I got into Cambridge, and I didn't do much as far as volunteer work. I would enter the shows and I would go to them, and again, a lot of the artists that I knew were already in it, so I felt like I knew a lot of the artists, even though I really didn't. There were a lot of artists in there that I didn't know, and I always regretted not pushing myself to do more with that organization. So when I joined South Shore Art Center, the Cohasset one I talked about, when I got into that organization, I said, okay, I'm going to volunteer every single time that I can. And it was a totally different experience. You know, it was great. I met a lot of people. It was just a lot of, well, it was a lot of fun, but I also, you know, like I said, I got to meet a lot of people and get involved with the local art scene, which was great. Sorry, I'm off the camera again, but I'm just kind of picking around with this thing now. I'm just working on all these roofs. I think that's the order of business for today. And it was really good, you know. Now, fast forward, I did it again. I moved here to Ohio. Granted, I moved during COVID, so you know everything was shut down anyway. But when I got here, I applied to the Associated Artists of Pittsburgh, and I was fortunate, really fortunate. I got in. They had a show for new members. I entered that and got to show my work there, which was a blast. And that's all I've done with them. And that is bad. You know, I should be going over there all the time. But, you know, I understand life is crazy for everyone and things happen. But you know, what I've gotten out of AAP, out of our Associated Artists of Pittsburgh, is what I put in. You know what I'm saying? It's like I haven't done anything with them. And you know, and I just, you know, just kind of flopping around. So I guess what my point is, like I said, join these things because they're great, but work with them, you know, do stuff with them, enjoy it, and you will not regret it. I can't stress it enough. And I don't care, you know, I've seen so many different kinds of organizations, art organizations. You know, there seems to be an art organization for everything. Right here locally, if you're into pinstriping cars, one of the best pinstripers on the planet is in Ohio, and he runs it's not really an organization, but it's a group of artists that all do pinstriping, and they have a get-together every year, and they've been doing it for a long time. And you know, you don't even have to be a pinstriper to go. It's a lot of fun to just kind of go and hang out and watch them do their thing. I'm not a pinstriper, but I love going. And again, it's networking. All of a sudden, you're shoulder to shoulder with all these artists that are really the best at what they do here, you know? And you'll learn a lot. You'll get inspired really, really quickly. And it's worth it. So join an organization. Trust me, you'll have fun. Roofs. We've been doing roofs for 12 minutes now, and it's going good. I think, what do I want to do? Do I want to start on the left-hand side again? Do we want to start over here and move across? Yeah, I think we do. Here's why. Because the next little group of buildings will bring us right to the river. This right here is the river. So if we finish this block of buildings, we'll be at the river. Psychologically, that's going to be a good thing. I'm just going to find out where I'm at here, though. Let me jump. I have two reference photos. One is the actual photo, and one is just the cropped photo. I'm going to use a cropped photo so I can try to figure out where the heck I am. All right. What am I looking at? Let me zoom out here. All right. Sorry you can't see all this. I'm on the tablet right now. I'm just trying to get my bearings here. So that's that building. Oh, because even the cropped photo has more than mine. Interesting. I'm caught up now. I know where I'm at. Okay. We can fudge some of this too. This will be good. So let's start with this little building right here. This little light of mine. All right. Start with some white. Yeah, this will be fun. We'll finish out the this episode getting these buildings started, and we'll work up to the river, and yeah, that'll be big. That probably didn't need to happen. Oh yeah, I know what I could do. What I just did here was pretty bright, but I can airbrush it to tone it down. So I'm going to just go for that, leave it there, and then airbrush it down, which is a totally valid way to do it. So back before I started the rant about organizations, I was talking about the shows that are coming up, and I'm excited. I've got a couple of shows planned because I'm now involved with the Butler. I can't enter their mid-year anymore, which is that's sad for me as an artist, but I also understand, why that is, and that's fine. But and I'm also super thrilled that I got a piece in the 87th mid-year before I was involved with them. So I got in, and I won a prize. So I'm, at least I got that, which is great. What am I doing here? No, that's not right. No, that's not right at all. So there's a couple. I've grown to like Youngstown a lot. Youngstown, Ohio. There's a lot going on there. They really embrace the arts, which is great. It is a very familiar style city to me. Massachusetts has a bunch of cities that are like Youngstown, and I'm sure a lot of states around the country have these towns or cities that were very robust and very very active during their heyday for whatever steel, in this case, in this area it's steel and industry and that kind of thing. Back in Massachusetts it was a lot of textile and fishing and that kind of thing. But then when that changes, the city takes a huge hit and gets kind of kicked aside for a while. Youngstown feels like it was a lot of that. It boomed and then it kind of faded out. And now it seems like they're trying to pull it back together. One of the big things that really holds a city together is its college, and that is absolutely true with Youngstown. Youngstown State University is right in Youngstown, and it is quite a glue for that city, which is nice. Other towns that I can think of that have the same thing in Massachusetts, like Lowell, the University of Massachusetts. Lowell was a big, factory type city that once the business dried up became a really tough place. But UMass has their Lowell campus there and really has kind of breathed vitality into that whole area. So I'm sure that happens everywhere too. But yeah, so Youngstown has a lot of these. Basically, people are getting into the arts, and with the museum right there and other things that are going on there, they are really bringing it back, and I like that. So a lot of the shows, are kind of popping up there, art shows, and the art community is really strong. Again, pulls back to the popularity of the museum right there. And also, the YSU has a very strong art museum as well, and that helps out a lot too. So people are familiar with that as well. So yeah, it's good. So there's your Youngstown arts at a glance right there. All right, that building, got a couple little greeblies on this guy. And yeah, we're good. Wow, we may actually make a pretty decent dent in this. That's interesting. I'm impressed. Okay, so this building up here. Editing Steve is going to slap Painting Steve because, I don't always look at the camera, and then when I go to put the reference photo on, or like this instance where I've completely changed up what we're working on and had to change the reference photo, he's going to be like, what are you doing? Stop it. All right, this building here has gray divisions, so we'll strengthen up the black there, get that ready. But that's Editing Steve's job. Editing Steve's job is to make Painting Steve look better than he really is. Poor Editing Steve. It's a tall order. And of course, like I said, I hate to talk about current affairs during the feeds because they get videoed early and then don't always go up when I think they're going up sometimes or whatever. But we are at the beginning of March right now, and I cannot wait for springtime. Man, can I not wait for spring. I've had enough of this winter. There we go. That's all the winter bitching you're gonna get. Sorry. My dislike of winter. I used to love winter a lot when I was a kid, but as soon as you get old enough to have to deal with winter, it changes things. Like I deal with winter meaning like buy home heating oil and shovel the driveway. Now I shoveled the driveway when I was a kid. But it's different because when you shovel a driveway as a child, it is because you had a snow day and you get that done and then you go sledding. So it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Where, now it's like, oh, that was terrible. Sorry. Wow, there's a hair on the brush. That's why, Steve. Where now, again, I didn't mean to make this a bitch fest, but it's too late. Now you're adult, you snow blow the driveway or you shovel the driveway, and then you gotta go to work. You know what I mean? It's like, that's no fun. I want a snow day. So I'm ready for winter to end. I'm gonna get rid of these two windows because I choked them up, all of them, except that first one, because I was able to fix that first one, but the other ones are terrible. This building has a black square on the top. I can do that while I'm waiting for that to dry. Yeah, so I'm ready. And like I said, I don't want to think make you think it's like a get off my lawn thing. Like I've aged to the point now that I'm like, I hate winter. I'm moving to Arizona or whatever. I learned to dislike winter a while ago. There's a fingerprint on there, on the edge here. It's resisting the paint. That's unfortunate. We're going to cut our losses and just leave that like that till it dries. So now I can't wait. I can't wait for spring. I can't wait to sit out on the porch and feel the sunshine and and get off my lawn. It needs to be darker. See what happens with this. Let's try not to screw this up again. This might be too thin. It is, but it'll work. You can tell it's too thin. It flows off the brush great, but it's not real opaque, which is not a problem. But what it does do is it leaves that little bright, blob at the end, which you need to account for by going over it a couple times. Here we go. That's actually wasn't terrible. And then we can have some fun back here. What time we got? 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah, 5 minutes we'll put some trees in. Not really put some trees in, but sort of kind of get them going. Moss green. Gosh, do I love moss green. My favorite green. Did I do a bad thing? No, good. So a little bit of moss green, but moss green is terribly transparent. Oh, I just dug through the hole, dug through the paper. Wow. It's weird. A little bit of black. So I added some white and I'm adding some black to it. This will give me kind of an olivey green, but it'll have a little bit of guts to it. It'll have a little bit of opacity to it that it didn't have before. So this is really like an underpainting. These trees are going to be very dark in the end. So this is just like my underpainting. The first like guide when I sprayed that in was black. That's just so I can see it. But this green will be the actual like underpainting, and then I'll start building on that. Ultimately, this will look almost black when I'm done. And I know I'm going off the screen. I'm just kind of getting rid of the rest of this paint by running it right up. But yeah. See how dark that is? So that's going to stay pretty much that dark. There'll be some little pops of like light. But by having that whole area painted in with that moss green, now whatever I do on top of that, those little dark bits of green will always show through, and I'll never have an instance where it'll be like, not looking like what it's supposed to. So yeah, I'm good with that. And we still have 3 minutes. We are burning this one down. What else can I do? Let's put in that tan building. Yeah. Can you see it? Probably not. Right there, there, and there. All right. I don't have a good brown out on the board here. That isn't dried out, so I'll put a little bit of wicked brown out. A wicked brownout sounds like something you would have in August in New England. Dude, it's so hot. Everyone's running their air conditioners, so they had a wicked brownout. That's all you get from me. All right, so brown, white. Give me a tan. It is feeling kind of tannish, so we'll add some yellow to it too. Ah, that's better. Next to this building, there is a tan building. It's super transparent. Why is that? Because I don't have enough white in it? Probably. It's all right. Just be patient. Patience. Just go over it a couple times. These little shots of color are really what's going to make this painting. Again, in the end, you'll see it. When it's done, you will get that real gray, foggy type feeling. On first glance, it'll seem like very monochromatic, but it's these little pixels of color that will be kind of mixed into the painting that will really, really kind of give this thing life. And again, subtlety is the way to go, man. If someone whispers something to you, whispering is as loud as screaming, right? When someone whispers something to you, you're like locked in, and it's the most important thing in the whole planet, right? That's what putting a tiny little bit of color into these paintings is. It does the same exact thing. If you hammer someone with it, they just turn it off, So be subtle. Subtle is good. Make the people work for it. You know what I'm saying? Now, hopefully this episode has kind of shown what I've been trying to say all along. The farther up we get now, the faster this is going to move. We really are going to cover a bunch more ground as we go. Again, it's just because there's less detail. I'm not painting entire buildings with entire windows. There's just a lot more things like little bits of buildings instead, or you just see like the roof, or you just see like one little thing, or you don't see anything. It's like a pattern, so that's going to make things go quicker with this thing, which is nice. All right, so this is a good spot. We have about no minutes left, which is fine. But I'm going to take a couple seconds here at the end. Right here next to that building I just painted in, right here is the little scratch where I went down below the paint. So this little guy here, this little dent right here has dimension to it. There's an edge there. So this is a perfect opportunity since we're going to end this episode and I'm going to give this painting a chance to like just kind of take a break. I'm trying to open this thing and it's not opening very well. I'm going to put a little bit of Ottobourne Sealer Gray there and fill in that scratch. It doesn't matter what, like it's gray, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be the same gray because I know it isn't because this is a different paint. You know, the Ottobourne Sealer's underneath. It's what you're seeing right there. But that's not my goal is not to match the paint color. My goal is to fill in that scratch. Now you notice this has got a lot of dimension to it. It's like sticking up, like, you know, really high. That's going to level out. It's going to, as it dries, it's going to kind of level out. So you won't see that till next week. But if I remember, I'll try to point it out. So that's it. That's all I got to do. And then I just leave that alone. Don't touch it. Don't blow air on it. Especially don't blow air on it. Because if I try to dry that off with the airbrush, say I'm working and I want to get that done quick, what'll happen is that it's dome shaped right now. And if I hit it with air or put heat on it or whatever, that'll skin over and it'll skin over in a dome shaped. And I don't want that. I want this to just naturally evaporate. And when it does that, it'll flatten itself out. It's self-leveling. So that's perfect. So when I come back to that, it may still even have, you know, a little bit of an indentation, even though you wouldn't guess that, you know, because it's so dome shaped right now. But it does level out and, you know, yeah, I mean, it's not going to need another coat, but if it did, I could put another coat on it to really flatten it out. But now what's going to happen is, say that was in a wide open area, you know, you would see that difference in paint, the level in paint, that little step, especially on this scale. There's so much going on here. I could have probably just buried it and you never see it, but I don't want to take that chance. You know, I don't want to take that chance of just painting a building over it. And then from an angle, you still see that little scratch in it, you know, that divot. So we just took care of it. All right. So here's how the whole painting looks like. And we have made it to the river. So that's exciting. And we're moving right along. So again, thank you very much. You guys know what to do. If you wouldn't mind, please, please, please hit that like. And if you're not subscribed here at the channel, please do that. It really helps things along. The like helps. Your comments help. Any interaction with the posts really, really help. And if you feel so inclined to share it to someone who you think might really enjoy it, I would love that. That'd make me really happy. If you'd like to support us in a more financial way, really keep the lights on around here, you can become a member. And that'll give you 10% off my website, off of everything. It'll also give you early access to the Time-Lapse Tuesday video, which is a lot of fun. And also you get your name in pretty colors here. So great. So that's what I got. I'm Steve Leahy. This is Through Lachlan's Eyes. And I will catch you all next week. Thanks.